Welcome, 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 friends and family. Welcome to another episode of the Sista Friends podcast. Yeah. I am your co-host, Sam. I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Lo.
Hey.
Jam is not with us today, but we do send her our love.
We still love you, Jam.
And today we are joined by two special guests, Darren of the Please Delete This podcast. Hi, Darren. And we're also joined by Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Hello. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you for the invite.
Today we're going to, the girls and I were chatting and in one of our many group conversations that we had. Yeah. We were talking about, women really are from Mars and men really are from Venus. The difference is so blatant and more so than in a relationship. So we figured we kind of have the girl part down pat after we've all been in long-term relationships. Some lasted, some have not. And so we got that part down, but still we don't really know what men want.
Right? So we don't.
Today, we will get two esteemed gentlemen to come and join us, both in long-term relationships, and give us a little bit of an insight into that male brain, because it's so perplexing sometimes. So, Lo, I'm going to conversation.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm taking notes.
So, I don't know who, Andrew, you want to go first?
Oh, be my honor, please.
Well, I could kick it off with a question that might kind of drive it, if you'd like.
Okay.
My biggest question is, and I say this for somebody who's I've been single for a period of time and became that kind of stubborn, independent woman, right? My question is about the male ego. Not that there's anything wrong with having an ego, and not that there's anything wrong with, being prideful. But my question is, can an independent woman, a strong woman, a woman who's been used to doing things for a long time, really affect a man's ego by just doing things that she's used to doing? Or is it advisable for her to try and step back a bit and let a man, as they say, which is still something I'm curious about, let a man be a man?
Andrew, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Sam. I really love that question. And I probably should give a little background. I do a lot of pastoral counseling and a lot of relationship issues. And I've seen several of these cases. Something that I come to discover, and even with your question, a single person who's been carrying on for a while, it's easy that psychologically that you're used to that kind of independence. But when you step into a relationship, it's like another law governs that, because this is now 1 and plus 1 to equal 1. When it comes to relationship, it's going to be a new partnership, so to speak, a teamwork, whereby in this new entity, you rightly placed and said it, men have this leadership that they want to protect, they want to provide, they want to care for. So therefore, they want someone who will respect them. Someone who would, the Bible uses the word submit to them, not in a derogatory way, but a way that if he's leading to a safe place, a place to make her happy, and he looks around, oh, I guess she's not there. Oh, she's not with me. And so it's kind of like they are a team, but he wants to be the one to protect her and to be able to provide for her and shelter her and love her with a sacrificial kind of a love. So for the woman, it's going to be important for her to I just think of a case here. Someone who recently, she had her house. He came into the picture and he never felt like he is a man in the home. Now, mark you, he needs some growing up to do. That's why she was holding on from not maybe having him to the house and let him take certain privileges. So it's going to be a sacrifice for her to take that gamble. But she was waiting for him to step up, take out the trash, cut the grass, and be that kind of a person. I know I'm saying a lot here, but it is possible, Sam, with some knowledge that she needs to take that gamble of what? I'm going to allow him to be what he was created to be. And, a protector, provider, that kind of leader. And I'm going to come alongside. It's going to be a teamwork, but he understands what his role and my role in this partnership.
That's a very good answer. So I'll just give a quick little background on me. I've been married for going on 6 years now. I've been in a relationship for a bit longer. And actually previous to that, I was previously married. So I have a good idea of relationship working and so on and so forth. And I would say, I guess in a relationship, we men, we do like to be the leaders. We do like to kind of be the head of things. But I think in a relationship, like Andrew was saying, it's a kind of a partnership. So I know for myself, I do like to be the protector, the provider, but I also recognize that this is a team. So I can still be the leader, but have my wife be my equal on the side of me. Amen. So even if I am, like, say, I'm the protector, I recognize that her job is to protect me as well, if we both protect our family. So I guess I would, in my head, I'm thinking, if you have an independent woman who's used to being on her own and is used to a kind of just handling everything on her own, she gets into a relationship. I do think there is a give and take. So I do think she does have to, voice, hey, I'm used to being by myself. I'm used to being independent, but I'm in this relationship with you. So I'm going to try to allow you to lead. And just the same way, the man should recognize that, hey, she's adopted this mindset of being independent and being on her own. And so this role may be difficult for her to give somebody else the position of leader. So the partnership, Andrew, like you were saying, is what's going to carry it through. There does have to be a bunch of give and take, but as long as both parties know, hey, as a man, I'm the leader, but I'm not going to let my pride destroy my partner.
That's right.
It should be all right.
Yeah. Okay. When we talk leadership, we're not talking dictatorship. It's not like pulling up my pants up. Don't you know I'm the man?
I should hope not, Andrew.
Right.
Well, I have a quick question. I do understand the man should be the leader, but how much?
I can barely hear you, Lo.
Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Are you hearing me any better now? Any better?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit. Go ahead.
If the man is leading, which is okay, that's the role. That's the role in the relationship. But what if the leader is leading you down a path that you don't want? How many chances do you give that leader to lead you? Or like when, it's like the jockey and the horse and the horse. Right?
Yeah, like who's leading who?
Right.
Excellent.
We're not going a good direction.
Yeah, excellent question. And I'll answer this in several stages. Like I would say, when I call it the negotiating table, when I'm doing premarital counseling, I would say to the man, like exactly scenarios like that, you have to make sure that you are a capable leader and that, you discuss things together, because like I admit, my wife is so much more smarter than I am. and you know, God has designed her a way to think on both sides of her brains. And so it is valuable for me in part of the partnership to include her in the decision making and so forth. Now, Marcus, there are sometimes I'm a little bit of a knucklehead, okay? And I think that this way is correct, and she thinks that that way is correct. And in a case like that, my wife will submit and she will respect the office, even though she disagree with the decision, she will respect the office. And I'll be honest with you, 9 times out of 10, I'm wrong. And like a dog, I come back. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. You know, but if it's the case where, you know, Lonnie, if it's such a life and death situation, you definitely have to safety first.
Right.
Okay. So you have to, that's how we're designed, self-preservation. You have to make some kind of decision. Hopefully you won't have a rebellious heart, but it's a firm, conscious decision that you're to protect yourself and maybe protect if kids are in the picture, right, and so forth. Yeah.
So I guess, Andrew, now I'm switching it around. So if you have a couple who the husband has this mindset, hey, I want to invest our savings in the stock market. And the wife is like, I don't think this is a good idea. And the wife is like, nah. The husband's like, yes, I think we should do this.
Yeah.
How do you maneuver it around? Do you tell the husband, hey, this is not a good idea? Like, you know, like how do you coach them on such, like, you know, kind of like what Lo was saying? If you're going down the wrong path, like how do you follow them or?
And may I add to that question, to Darren's excellent question?
Excellent.
As a woman, right, how do we address that without scarring the man's ego?
You know, and I hope I have a silver bullet answer here, but you know,
I hope you do too, Andrew.
Don't let us down, Andrew.
Because you do have men come home with a midlife crisis, the Ferrari, and say, honey, this is the car I bought for us. Oof. Of course, he's the one who is driving it all the time and, you know, all that money. And so therefore you have money becomes a major divisive issue in relationship, along with, of course, the other two, the pride and sex. But in a case like this here, one of the things I recommend, if before in drawing up the contract and there's an understanding that whenever there is issues like this and you can't solve it, bring in a third party in. You know, because sometimes men, we have a way of not listening to our partners because of our ego kind of thing. Yeah. And sometimes when another man is, you know, like a father figure kind of thing, so she can probably speak, leverage a good relationship that he has with someone, maybe in the family member or a friend that he respects. You know, that may be a way to go about doing this. And so that's one thing that it could do. Or it is understood in this partnership that if we have strong disagreement about this thing, I am not going to let let's take out certain shares or certain things like that for understanding. You're going it on your own. You're going to bear this, you know, cross on your own, so to speak, and so forth. But that's why in kind of like in a corporation, we know the terms of the agreement and we are willing to abide by those agreements. That is why it's good when you enter into this partnership, you look at these kind of things. So especially the big ones. Money is a big one. Mm-hmm. Sex is a big one. Power, pride is a big one. At least those bases are covered with a good counselor. Yeah. But it's not easy. No, trust me, it's not an easy thing, okay? And you have to take each case, you know, because sometimes you really can have some aggressive, destructive male ego, in the situation, and the woman may lose a lot in this, or it could be the other way around. By the way, we use a man right now as the aggressor.
I'm gonna say I know some aggressive females.
The villain. Yeah. Okay, but it could be that in a case like this, it may cause serious hurt. That's gonna take some time for healing to take place.
So I don't know if I'm on the same page as you. Because so my thinking is, if I want to do something and my wife is not on board, then I'm gonna hold off on doing it until we can figure out what it is.
Darren, by the way, not to cut you, I agree with Deb. No, you're a good man.
Hey, 2 marriages, man. Yeah. 2 marriages. I've learned my lessons.
Yeah. I was just playing out for the woman who have a man who's stubborn.
Yeah.
And so forth. Yeah.
So a little bit more background. I have 2 daughters, and they're both teenagers, and I hope one day they get married and they have their happy lives and things like that. So, and in this example, I'm thinking if my daughter's married and her husband is kind of going down this path, and what do I tell her if she doesn't agree with this path that they're going down? Should she follow blindly? Should she say something? Like what? So I think as men, sometimes our pride does need to get hurt for us to listen. If you have a good partner and a man,
I like to hear. Tell me how to do it.
I want to hurt men's pride. Tell me. Thinking of myself, if I want to do something, or if we're having a back and forth, and when my wife says something that hurts, that's gonna stick out. I may be like butthurt about it in the moment, maybe for the next couple of days, and be really upset. But at some point, I have to think, hey, I married her for a reason. She's smart, like you were saying. Your wife is smart. She has a stake in our relationship and where we're going. So I would tell my kid the same thing. You are smart. Like, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. There are tactful ways. I'm not saying like come out your mouth and say, yo, you don't know what you're talking about, you dummy. Obviously not. But being able to say like, this is not a good idea, and be able to kind of lay out why it's not a good idea.
That's right.
I almost want to say I don't really agree with getting another person involved, because it kind of takes away the power from the woman. It's kind of like he won't listen to me until you talk to him. Talk to him sense it to your friend.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
okay, I see what you're saying.
It does work sometimes. Like if my best friend comes to me and tells me, hey, whatever you got going on isn't a good thing. Cool, yes. But I'd rather know that my wife said it's not a good thing, and I should give that as much weight as I would give it if it came from my best friend, my male best friend.
And Darren, the thing is, you are a good villain.
Good villain?
You're like the Empire, not even the Empire Strike Back, because you just paint a picture. I wish I have guys like you, who is, before they reach a place of hardness of heart where they don't really care what the woman say, think about this, So that's what men are supposed to be, like what you just described there. That's beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, it's again 2 marriages. I know. I've kind of been through it, but and that's what I've picked up. Just to a woman, like he may need to be knocked down a couple pegs. Yeah. Like he needs to know. So.
And I would even say, go ahead,
Andrew.
No, I was just saying when I too, I'm a little bit stubborn. My wife usually sometimes pose it in a question that is very convicting, and also just her gentle, respectful manner, I remember one of the first times that, like, she said to me in a very gentle way, so honey, what am I supposed to do then? And I was like, it was so convicting just the way how she said it and the content of what she said. And yet she left my manhood intact.
Yeah.
You're so smart. You know that? So smart.
Well, you women are good. You women are good.
Yeah.
I don't get enough credit for that. I have a couple more questions, but the first question, well, I'm going to be honest. Andrew, I'm having a little bit of a hard time with that word submit.
Submit.
Ooh.
Yes.
Can you
on this one? It's the submit word that's my trigger.
Yeah, I know.
Sam, trust me. With someone like me who will talk about these things a lot, you have to anticipate where the landmines are. And know how to tip, that's the landmine. But let's take it. A couple of things about that word. Number one, it's a biblical word, meaning it's timeless. It's a word that is even in the Trinity, meaning the Son submit to the Father. So therefore, it's not a ugly word, but it's an economical word, meaning just like how let me not go to military. I don't know much about military. Like an employer, an employee. The employee submits to the employer, but the employer is not better than the employee. It has nothing to do with value or essence because both are of equal value and dignity and worth. But it has to do with like function. Like in my home, you have the children, they submit to the authority of the parents, not because the parents is better than the child, but it has to do with function so that you can have smooth function. So in the ending of a beautiful compliment, it says in Ephesians 5, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church and willing to sacrifice for her. In other words, that man is supposed to be willing to die for his wife. That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that she would respect him and submit to him. And when both of them are traveling in that track, it's dynamite. In other words, he is, because of his love for her, he's not going to want to do anything to harm her. And for she, that's my man. That's my man.
Okay, but from what you're saying, it sounds to me like the man submits to the wife as well. If it's about,
you have and interesting that you say that, because on top of those roles, you have the verse that says a mutual submission that takes place.
Now you're talking my language, Andrew.
A mutual submission that takes place. But as Darren was even saying earlier on, there must be understood. You can't have no human body has two heads. It's something must be wrong with that. Yeah. It's really a partnership. Even going back to the original question that we were talking about, what a man wants from a woman, one would be his partner, a teamwork, and even when he messed up, that she is not, and the Bible repeats this several times, contentious, like nagging, always nagging.
You don't want to make a woman nag.
We don't see it as nagging. We just see it as we have to say the same thing over and over. Yeah.
I definitely understand that. I say to my wife, baby, that my son is 22. I said, Sue, don't talk to him so many times about the same thing. You can say it once, but let me follow through and talk to him as a man, because he's going to learn to tune you out, that kind of stuff, You want to get that thing. Yeah, to tune her out,
You tune us out?
Yes, they do.
What'd you say, Sam? I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Yes, he admitted. We have it on tape. But this is my my question.
Which is a coping, by the way, which is a coping mechanism. Oh. Go ahead.
My thing is, what happens when you made a point? The man is supposed to be willing to die for his wife, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So therefore, what if you have a partner and you're locked up in jail, but they don't come and bail you? Or you're in a fight and they turn up and they're like, well, why did you get into a fight? Like, my expectation is you come, I'm in a fight, you jump right in. It don't matter who started it. That's the expectation. So why don't men see it that way? Like,
okay, Darren, I should probably give you a chance to share.
I want you to go on this one, but I'll chime in a little bit, right? So, okay. So first off, there's a couple things to consider. If you're getting into a fight, are you fighting another female?
It don't matter.
It don't matter. Okay. So in my head,
truck driver,
my objective is maybe not to jump in and fight with you, but maybe to get you out of this situation so that it's not getting worse progressively, right? I would like to think that if me and you are together and you are about to pop off from somebody, one of us got to be the level-headed one, right? So unless I'm upset with you, then we both in jail. That's not going to help anything. So let me take you out of this. Let me try to, okay. I'll handle it. You let me lead right now. While you go cool down, I'll take care of the situation. Mm-hmm. But if we're both, somebody, it's just like if I'm fighting and you're like, yo, shh, calm down. It's okay, baby. It's all right. Like one of us got to be the level-headed one. I don't think that's I'm not trying to jump in and be on your side with you. It's more of, hey, you're popping up, you're angry, cool. Let me be the level-headed one now, right?
Don't worry, Lo. I'll jump in, Lo. I'll jump in, girl. I got your back.
And that's what your girl is for. See, that's what the girl. Now both of you are gonna be in jail together, and now you don't worry about me not being there.
You don't need no stinking man, Lo. We got this.
Okay. That's right. It's okay.
And I love that because there are two things going on there, where you have the emotions are just raging, and then you have truth. Let's say your partner is in the wrong. Okay, let's pretend that they're in the wrong. And when you come into this, you want to kind of deal with the emotion, grieve with the person. You're not saying you agree with the person, you're grieving with the person in light of how they're seeing things. And when things are kind of calmed down, we deal with some objective truth, about what have happened. So you can have some clear-headed thinking on the matter.
I still say fight with me.
I mean, we could talk junk when we get home and say you're home. Yo, hey man, you were popping off, huh? I can see you up this. At least we're not in jail together, right?
Hey, a perfect illustration of this is what happened that became so explosive. I don't know if you remember during the snowstorm that in Philadelphia, two neighbors were quarreling. And it seemed, I don't know if it started with the wife, and the husband came in and jumped on the wife's side, of course. And then the neighbor went for the M16 or whatever.
I remember.
Right.
Yeah, and it became, both of them died.
Right.
And then I think he killed himself too.
Yeah, I remember that.
He did.
So it's good. The issue of justice, of course, justice is a big word now. Issue of justice. Everybody crave for that, and so it's so important that as you step in as a true lover, to love is going to be objectified, but yet without still preserving the integrity of the individual, So it's good to deal with the emotions, and then from the emotions, later on to deal with truth, objective truth. Let's look at this rationally.
To back you up, Lo, if you are in jail, I will try to bail you out. If I don't, then I don't deserve to be on your side.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If he doesn't bail you out, if he doesn't come see you or anything, get rid of him.
Yeah.
I have a closing question for you, gentlemen, as we start to wrap this up. This has been very enlightening.
Very.
Real quick, from your experiences, I'll start with you, D.
Hey.
Who compromises more in the relationship, the man or the woman?
Oof.
Go.
In your own words.
Are you guys gonna put this on air for my wife to hear? Because
oh man,
no. Who compromises more? I would say the wife compromises more to the husband. I would like to think that we as men compromise more, just because we're so simple. Like we're very easygoing and we go with the flow. It's not that serious. But I feel like women, you guys have so much more to consider. You guys have so much more to plan and to meticulate every little detail that we sometimes just will never see and will never gather. So then you guys take on that sacrifice of, I got to pre-plan this. I got to go get this. I think of like, you're going on vacation, you're going on a family vacation. And, us men, I don't know about you, Andrew, but I kind of have to pack my stuff and make sure that I'm good. And I could barely do that correctly. While my wife has to compromise and sacrifice and pack up the kids and pack up her and then back up me and then make sure everything is kind of in that role. And even if I try to help, I'm probably not going to do it right and so on and so forth. So I can only think of those like little instances where like she just compromised a lot more than I did. And so as a whole, I would probably say the woman more. But just know that we feel like it's us.
Okay, for the record.
Not surprised.
I feel like it's me that compromises more, but I'm sure it's her.
And Darren, I agree with you. Like the movie, The Hidden Figure, behind the scenes, though I'm the one in my kind of work always up front, she is the wind beneath my wings. And she's the one who's always, compromising and so forth.
Yeah.
And so, she is the hero behind the story, that produces thing here. And we men need to go public whenever they applauding us. Say, oh, no. The applaud goes to her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's the one. Yeah.
Thank you both, gentlemen. This has been a fantastic chit chat.
Absolutely.
Could I say one thing? We can't close without saying this. Another thing that man wants in it's hard to come out here, but in a relationship with a partner is intimacy. Of course, they don't use that word. They use sex.
Oh yes,
That's a big part. A really big part. So no conversation of this topic cannot close without mentioning that.
Sounds like we need to have a part 2.
Hey,
that was a good one.
Set it up.
That's a good one.
Yes.
That's right.
You are correct. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we are more than happy to have you gentlemen back for a part 2, because this is a great conversation. This was really fun. Yeah. And we want to thank you both, and we just like to acknowledge the respect that you give to your queens, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And it's wonderful to see good Black husbands, and it's just such a beautiful thing. So thank you very much for spending your evening with us. Thank you for giving us your time, thank you for already accepting the invitation to come back for part 2.
Yes. It was my privilege to be here.
And in the meantime, thank you to all of our listeners for joining us at another episode of the Sister Friends podcast. You can catch us on all streaming platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. And please be sure to check out the Please Delete This podcast as well, wherever you find your podcasts. And follow them on Instagram at PLS Delete DL at PLS DL this. You won't regret it. I guarantee it.
Thank you, ladies, for having us. It was great.